Welcome to today's eCast on the Introduction to Email Archiving. Open up any web browser and type in earchive.andersen-const.com. This will bring you to the login page. From here, you use your actual email login and your email password. If your email password happens to be blank, you will need to change that before using this system, as it doesn't accept blank passwords. Once you do get logged in here, you'll notice that it looks a lot like a live email system. However, it really isn't. It's more of an archiving system. There's no way to delete messages out of here. You will notice that there's the familiar folders down the left-hand side, email messages in the middle, and a toolbar across the top of the messages. So that much is fairly familiar. A little bit about our system here: any email message that's older than 5 years will be automatically removed from the GroupWise and put into this system. So if you're looking for an old message and you don't find it, it's going to be in here. Another interesting little factoid about that is the system doesn't actually remove the folders that the emails were contained in, simply because it doesn't know if you're going to reuse that folder. So if you're going through your GroupWise and you see empty folders and you're wondering why it did that, that is why. So if you're not going to use that folder anymore, it's an old project or a folder you're not going to need anymore, you can simply delete it out of GroupWise, and that is a little bit of cleanup you'll have to do on your own. There is a good chance when you first log in here excuse me, that the system won't display you anything. And the reason for that is if we look at the date section here above the subject, if I drop this little drop down, you'll see that other than custom, everything is the last 3 years or newer. Well, since we're archiving 5 years and out, simply even picking the last 3 years isn't going to show you anything. Now, it does on mine because I actually use a 1 year setting on mine, which is different from the company standard. If somebody wants it different from 5 years, if they want the cleanup to be sooner than that, just let myself or Brian know, or the IT department, and we will get that switched around for you. So if you're trying this on your own, what you're probably going to have to do when you first come in here, because this is probably going to be blank and you're going to wonder where everything is click on this date icon here, and that pulls up the custom, and then you'll see here that I have mine going from 1995, December 31st, through the end of this year. You click OK, and then that sets the date. So just set the date range far enough back that it will get the emails that you want to see. And once you do that, you should get something displayed like this. So a little bit of navigation. Over here on the folders, you can see your mailbox, sent items, calendar, cabinet. You can click on, say, cabinet here, and that will show you all the messages that were at that level of the cabinet. If you want to go into a folder, you have to click the plus sign to the left, and then to drill into your folders, something like that. Then you drill into, say, this one here, and then it'll show you those messages. Now you'll see this little loading over here that went away maybe before you saw it, but the system can take a while to pull these up. It's really not meant to be like a browsing or like a live email system. So I'll show you a little bit later here how to just do direct searches, and that's probably how you'll almost always use it. You can use it like this, but like I said, it tends to page the emails like 10 or 20 at a time. You have to hit this next and previous to kind of get to the next. There's no scroll bars, so it's really meant for you to go in, do a search for something specific, and get kind of a small group of emails pulled up. So that's basically how you would navigate the folders. If you wanted to open up an email, once you do find it, you'd click on either the name, or the subject. And if I do that for this one, it's going to pull up the header section up at the top. And this email, since it looks like Martin had sent it to probably the whole company, this header is rather long, and in this case you do get a scroll bar. Scroll that down, and you'll see that as an attachments, it's including 2 messages and looks like 2 attachments. So here's the body of the message down below, which would be the text that you'd normally see. The HTML message is the actual default one that's displayed, and it's the one you're probably used to. It'll have all the graphics and things like that. If you just want to see the text message, you can click on Open, and that'll switch to that when you see the formatting looks a little bit more generic and more computer-like. Sometimes that's what you want if you're copying and pasting. You can also save any of these So if I clicked on save across from the text one, I could hit save file, pop up the normal dialog box. With this email, there was also an attachment, a PDF here. I can hit open, click on open, and it will open up the attachment just into PDF viewer. From there, I can do my normal print functions. I can save it out. I can send via email using GroupWise, that kind of thing. So even though this has been archived, you pretty much get all of the same features that you would if the message was still in GroupWise. It's just not clogging up your system and taking up the hard drive space on GroupWise. So that's basically how you open those up. Oh, I did forget one thing. With that open, to be able to print an individual email, you use this print icon over here to the right, and when that pops up, you simply select your printer and away you go. So that is one drawback. You can only print one, each individual email one at a time, where in GroupWise you can select 5 of them or something. You can do a forward, which is this icon right here, and the way this works is you don't click forward first. You actually select which messages you want to do forward to or with. You click forward, and now you have to simply type in the actual full email address, and this will let you email it outside of Andersen company. So if an owner or a subcontractor needed something or whatever, you would put the recipients in here with commas, so I could do comma and then another email address here. I can change this subject if I want. It doesn't have to stay that. And you hit forward message here, and then it will actually forward those emails. And what's nice is it will actually show coming from your Andersen email account. So if by chance somebody replies to that, even with like a hey, thank you, you will get that reply back into your GroupWise email system and not back into Retain. It won't look funny. It won't look any different than if you had sent it out of GroupWise. This print button right here is actually to print the list of emails that are right here. So if you click print on that, again, you get the print dialog box. You pick your printer, and it will actually print this middle section of just the list of emails. So if you had to print those off to show somebody, I'm not sure how useful that would be, but if it's useful, then use it. One last thing up here, we already covered the date, is if I click into my cabinet here, let me go down into, actually I think I'll go to my mailbox. So once you have some messages showing here, you can actually use this to do a search. So I'm going to search for the word all here, just by typing all in there and either hitting enter on my keyboard or just clicking the find. You'll see the little red loading over here, and that'll pull up all. But that's not all it does. If I pick the word support here and search for that one, the same email is going to come back here, and you'll notice that if I click into this email, the word support is down in the body of the email right there. So that find, while it only searches the ones that are on your screen at the moment, it does search into each email, and so you can find text within the body of the email. If I take that out and I click on my find icon again, all the emails will come back. So that's the basic operation, the date range, the printing, the forwarding. Where the real power comes in here is when you do the searching over here on this search tab. So let's go ahead and let's click on that search tab. And you'll notice that it comes up with a core, a scope, which is basically your message types like search for mail, search for appointment. You have the sorting, so if you're going to bring a lot of messages back and say you want to sort it by the sender or by the subject because you know that you have an email that a lot of people replied to, or maybe there's a big long list or something like that, and you want to make sure that all the ones from Tom are grouped together or something like that, you can sort by something other than creation date. Under miscellaneous here, you can select date ranges, things like that. Normally, when you first come in here, if you've done a search before, you might have to click on the reset to kind of clear everything out, because it tends to remember the last thing you did. And when you do that reset, it basically searches for everything across all date ranges, regardless of what this custom date is up here, what you're actually displaying. This is a separate thing, and so even if that is not set within that date range, you'll still find it. So in this particular case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for a subject that contains, and I'm going to pick contains fuzzy here, and then I'm going to put RFI in here, and then I'm going to hit search. And this will probably take about hopefully 10 or 15 seconds. You'll see the loading here. And again, like I said, this isn't meant to be a live email system, and I haven't put it on the fastest hardware and the fastest disk drive. So you'll see that it pulled back, and here's my subject right here, and you'll see RFI in every one of these. Now, if I wanted to limit that search, so I don't know how many pages I got back here, but I've got displayed, I think, 25 or 100 entries per page here on the scrolling, and I can hit next and get the next 100 or whatever. But let's just say, then I realized that, I just want to say, show me only the ones where Josh Ironside is a recipient. So I can come back over here, and you see this little plus right here. I can click plus on that, and it'll open up another one of these. And now this time, instead of subject, I'm going to say recipient. Let me leave it contains fuzzy, and I'm going to show you a thing that might happen to you. And I'm going to go in here, and I know that Joshua likes to be called Josh. So I'm going to just put Josh in there, and I'm going to hit search, and nothing's going to come back. So the way that this fuzzy works is it looks for the whole word, and since it was actually Joshua, it didn't find Josh. So to make this work where I'm going to use Josh, I have to actually use the word starts with. So now if I do search, you'll see that it should come back, I think, about 10 of them or something. And again, you see the loading right here. That lets you know that it's doing something, so be a little patient here. So you see now I've got RFIs in the subject, and now I've got Josh over here, except you'll see that some say Cindy and things like that. Well, if you've noticed as I've scrolled over them, some of these have a plus sign next to it, and that means that there was more than one recipient. So if you highlight over it, or if you move your mouse over it, you'll see that Josh was on that email. And every one of these, you'll see that Josh, and even here Adam, even though it doesn't show it, it looks like he sent it to a lot of people. I'm sure Josh is on that list, or it wouldn't have pulled it up. So that's a way that I would expect you would normally do searches. You would come in here and you would say, I don't know, it was something RFI, whatever, and it was from so-and-so, and you hit search, and you're going to get a list like this. And then at this point, you simply could, open them up and, work with the emails just like you would if you had just clicked into a folder and that kind of a thing. So there's this original email. You can scroll down. It has everything intact, basically. So that's really all I wanted to show you. Oh, one other thing. So say you've done this search and you want to remember this search. These 4 icons up here, or at least these 2, you can hit save here, and I can call it something like Josh RFI, and I can hit save. And once that's saved, say I reset this, I can come back in later and I can click on the first icon, which says load query, and you'll see that it gives me a list. And I can just click on the one that I saved and click load, and it'll put that right back in here. Then I hit search, and I'm right back where I was. So if you come in here and you're doing a lot of searches, things like that, you might use that feature. If not, you can just come in and you can do the browse. Just be wary that it's not really set up to be a speed demon, and be patient with it. And I think you'll see that it works just fine. Thank you very much.